everyone. This is Chris Turner again with Up and Under, the weekly interview series hosted by D1A. I'm here with Tyler Stevens, head coach of Mary Washington, Matt Gordon, senior captain, and Seamus Brennan, the vice captain, who's a sophomore. Fellas, welcome to the program. Thank you for your time and making it. Obviously, you're in a truck. I'm guessing before practice, after practice?
Yeah, we got our pitch right here next to us.
Very cool. So guys, just give a little bit of a brief introduction, each one of y'all, and a little bit about the club, if you could.
I'll let these guys start.
Okay, so I'm Matthew Gordon, originally from Scotland, and came over here to play rugby. This is my second season at 15s for UMW, and looking forward to it.
Hi, I'm Seamus. I'm from Clayton, North Carolina. This is my second season as well for 15s at UMW, and I'm just looking forward to compete at the highest level.
And I'm Tyler Stevens. I've been coaching at UMW originally as an assistant coach and forwards coach since 2016 when I got out of the U.S. Navy. And I transitioned here in January, right before the start of our 7th season as the head coach, and then took over the transition into D1 Single A for us as this year. So.
Fantastic. And Tyler, I know that you just mentioned that you've been with a club for a few years, but I gotta mention, you guys, you are the talk of the D1A town right now. You know, being the new kids on the block, so to speak, your club is. And with all this hype coming off, like how has that experience been working your way up from D2 into winning, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 D1A or D1 AA national championships, and then now into D1A? Kind of explain the process of that and how you've kind of helped the club transition.
Well, from a coaching perspective, obviously, when we decided to make the transition, the big thing was obviously talking to the team, making sure the entire team was on board. It's obviously quite a bit more of a commitment, time-wise, especially on the field. And these guys have all these things that they're doing outside of the field, you know, with school and community service and all those things. So from that was a big commitment and an ask. But just coaching wise, it was really kind of different, obviously, for us, because, you know, you're looking at teams that, you know, you might only get to watch when you would see a random YouTube video that a team might have shared a video, or you only get to watch the collegiate championship matches because, you know, a lot of teams don't put all their matches public. So kind of walking in it's a little bit blinding. You're trying to catch up on the film, meet all the coaches. It's a whole new environment. The structure is a lot different, you know. Administratively, it's quite a bit more. You know, we have the CMS rosters for the matches. You know, we have the deadlines for the film updates, things like that. So not only for the players, it's a lot more on the coaching. But I think we did a pretty good job with the transition. We decided to do it at the top of a really successful 7th season for us as well. So coming off of that and the move up to D1A, made recruiting over the summer a little bit, I shouldn't say easier, but it just more of a talking point. People got really excited about that. There were players, you know, that sometimes would look to go to other states, especially out of the Virginia area, to where now we're the only school, you know, in the state of Virginia playing rugby at this level like that. To have that as a recruiting point is very helpful as well.
That's awesome. And, you know, kudos to you guys for being the top club in Virginia currently right now. And, I mean, that's a huge thing because as a former D1 AA and D1A player myself, because our club went through that transition as well. And you're right, Tyler, there really is no film to look at these clubs and kind of test your mettle against, because a lot of times when you do make that administrative change for the higher level, you're almost kind of second guessing yourself, maybe in a small percentage, right? Where you're like, ooh, did I make the right call? Is this team ready for it? But I mean, explain a little bit of the confidence that you had in your team and making that change.
So, you know, with the majority of these guys, especially, like I said, I've been around them since 2016. I've watched these guys, you know, be behind by unimaginable points at halftime. And I've seen the heart and the raw intensity these guys can actually play with when we put it all to work. And I've watched them do it time after time after time. And I just felt really confident. I felt like it was the right move. Obviously, you know, sometimes it's good to change things up, mix it up so you don't get too stagnant at one point.
Right.
And I think we had a very successful run at D1 AA and the Chesapeake Conference that we were in. And I just think that the timing was just right. I was taking over as the new head coach, brought in, a little bit of fresh perspective to some things, some new structure that we weren't doing before. And I just, the guys, like I said, that was the big thing for me, was making sure every single person that was going to be here playing was 100% committed to the ask that we were having of these guys. Because like I said, it's so much faster. The knowledge is there, the style of play. So it's a lot of commitment from these guys to put the work in and execute.
Definitely. And I mean, I could 100%, get on page with that too. So Matt, I'm going to kind of transfer over to you here and kind of piggybacking off Tyler's comments. Granted, he is the one that's coaching on the sideline, but kind of explain to us, the actual physical level of play. Is there a difference? How's the schemes, attacking, defensive wise? Is it just a whole nother level, or is it actually fairly similar to the other levels that you played at?
Yeah. So I think it took quite a few. It would become kind of like a playoff match or a final for us, and that's kind of what every week is right now. The teams we're playing against. So we're playing these really, really good teams. Great structure. The attack, they're bringing a lot more in attack. Different kicking games and different styles of attack. You're kind of seeing it all just now, and they're obviously handling, physicality. It's all an increase. The balls in play longer, and the contacts are bigger. So it is a new challenge. It's one that we're excited about, and we're looking forward to being around for a lot longer.
Definitely. Well, I hope you guys could stick around a lot longer as well. I know you're a very exciting club, at least from my standpoint of following y'all, and hopefully for years to come, that'll be the case. But I know we had talked a little bit before we started the interview, but you're from Scotland, correct?
Yeah, and Aberdeen, Scotland.
Harbury.
Aberdeen.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Sorry, I don't know if it's the Skype or your accent. I don't know which one's which, but how long have you been playing for? And did you play over in Scotland for during your formidable years? And if you did, what's the kind of a level of play between the two countries?
So yeah, I started playing rugby when I was quite young, before the age of 10, which is unlike most players that we have here from America, just because of it's just the culture of the sport really over there. Yeah, I played in Scotland from pretty much, like I said, 10 till I was 18, and then had a stint playing at a club after, and then decided to come here, and it's been great fun so far. The differences at the moment that I've only been able to see is it's probably just that when it comes down to the basics, the guys have had the ball in their hand a lot longer for so many more hours. It's just the technical stuff that they've just had so much longer of game time with, and learning, the different types of attacking play and defensive structures you can play. There's a lot more variety in those areas of the world.
Well, great. Well, I hope one day America can at least, achieve the level of that kind of basic play that all the other, tier 1 nations possess. But I mean, I don't want to.
You beat us that one time, so you got us on the one time during the summer.
Yes, I'm glad that you brought that up before I was gonna say, wasn't it something about early game this year? But
I saw the smile on your face, and I knew that you were gonna bring it up. So I'll bring it up before you have a chance to.
Well done. Well, yeah, thanks for being ahead of that. Appreciate it. So Seamus, we're gonna bring it out of you in the back. How you doing, my man? So you're a local USA guy, right? Which state are you from?
I'm from Clayton, North Carolina.
From Carolina, cool. So going over to Virginia wasn't too bad of a drive. I mean, obviously you're not skipping the pond or anything like that. But kind of in your own words or an experience, how has the Eastern Conference, and I know you have at least a couple of games under your belt. I mean, that was a really tough match for your first game. I mean, Eastern Conference play against Kutztown, which they've been a perennial powerhouse in the division. I mean, granted, I know the score may not have been exactly what in the outcome is what you wanted, but I know there had to have been good play out there, play you could have been satisfied with. Kind of explain the Eastern Conference and how it kind of shifts within Mary Washington's expectations for the remainder of the year.
I think it's going to shift very well with our expectations. I think Kutztown was a very good first game with a very strong team, so that it would kind of set our standards so that we would know from here on out, like, this is the level of play that we want to play at. This is the level of play that we need to play at, whether it's at practice or actually on the field on Saturdays or Fridays. So I think it's going to mesh really well and help us out in the remainder of the season.
Awesome, man. And yeah, I mean, that, again, like I'll mention again, that is not an easy first match. And I thought you guys went a lot better than what a lot of other people thought. But again, I was going for you guys on that one.
Thanks.
Actually, the main reason why I've been going to you guys is because I've been running the D1A accounts, all the social media accounts here. And I've noticed you guys are probably one of the best social media accounts out there now. And I know that I've seen your videos, your recruitment videos, your club videos, and, you know, all your basic, you know, consistent content that you're putting out there. If anyone has any, you know, words that they want to say about that, how do you think that really shaped your club moving forward, the recruits coming in, and overall just what it means to be a part of that social media community?
So obviously from a coaching perspective, and I don't know if it's just my age in life, I honestly, I mean, I can tell you for a fact that social media matters in the world today. And I think that letting these guys have ownership over the team and things like that. You know, we have a person on our executive board that is a social media account chair, putting that ownership in them, telling these guys, you know, don't be afraid to post things. You know, every little thing that we can do that gets our name out there, spreads the word of rugby is great, especially in our community. There's so many youth rugby teams, I would say within like a 70-mile radius of Fredericksburg, high school rugby programs around us that, you know, these kids coming up nowadays, social media is what they live on. And if, you know, all it takes is for you to type in #rugby and you could be on that on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter for days. So just making sure that we're getting our, you know, our piece of that, you know, ensures by being proactive that we're, you know, we're always in the forefront. We're always seen. We're highlighting the things we're doing on the field and off the field, because in college, like we tell these guys, you know, everything you do on and off it matters. It helps build to your future. It's resume builders. You know, we do a lot of volunteer things like that in town. All of those things, all it does is keep a positive spotlight, not only on our team, but on the sport itself in the United States, which is, you know, has a very tenacious relationship. People have so many different thoughts on what they, you know, on, is rugby safer? Is it better? Should my kid play rugby, and other things? Mm-hmm. So like I said, if we can keep social media flooded with that, and people are seeing that it's acceptable to play and it's a fun sport, and that it is quite safe, that it helps everybody in the end.
Right. And I think you had a really couple good points there about just breaking those stereotypical boundaries, right? About, you know, the sport, is it safe? I don't really know much about it. Is it a huge time commitment? But I could speak from personal preference, and a lot of my friends and other my families, that as soon as they get into the sport, they don't even look behind them. They just keep looking forward, and they love it so much, and they just want to kind of have a lot more people part of that culture and a part of that community. And you guys are definitely at the spearhead of that social movement, and I got to tip my cap off to you guys. And I know I'm going to be interacting with you guys a lot in the future. But, you know, we'll try not to be too biased out there, because, you know, everyone has to get their share fair out there. But again, kudos to Mary Washington out there. And then in this part of the video, I'll put at the bottom of the screen your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram handles, and even your website, where some new recruits could come and check you guys out. So I'll make sure to throw that in there. I know we got a few more minutes here, but I kind of wanted to wrap up with some decent questions and maybe some fun questions at the end. One question I always try to ask every single club is culture. I know that's really general, but kind of define that in Mary Washington's way. I know you don't want to give all of your secret sauce away, but just kind of give me some highlights or some tipping points that really make your culture special compared to other clubs.
I would say one of the best things about our club is the variety of people we have here from so many different nations. You know, everyone comes in here with a certain level of expectation and different maybe set pieces or certain drills. Everyone's got this an idea about it, and I'd say and all these different cultures that they bring. You know, the traditions from back home, whether it's South African and braai, or, you know, they're Australian and they barbecue, and it's all these different mixes of people that make us, I think, quite a special place to be. And for a lot of us as well coming overseas, it's almost like a home away from home, because we have people similar kind of things going on back home in life, where it's inside chat or anything like that, you can have here as well, so you don't miss out too much on it.
That's wonderful, man. That's great. And hopefully you guys can, sustain that culture, which I'm sure you guys have already because of your progression in the last few years. So it's just going to be really fun to continue seeing that in the next few years to come. So that's awesome, you guys. Seamus, if you don't mind, I got a question for you in the back, my man. I know you guys have only been in D1A for this year, but has there been any other club that's really stuck out to you? And it could be from, an expectations level or a social media channel level, or like, is there any club that's been on your radar? Or it could be a conference play too.
Like that we want to play?
No, it could be whoever you want to play, or just another club that you admire.
Oh, maybe like another club you admire or something like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, another club that I would say I admire would probably be Life. I mean, because they're always up there. They're always doing the best that they can. They're always top 3, everything. They're just a big team, and I mean everybody knows about. You talk about rugby, it's Life, St. Mary's, stuff like that, and they recruit heavily, and they have players from all over like we do as well here, and I think that is also just something to strive for, to maybe one day play like and be like.
Oh, definitely, and I think you hit it on the head there. I mean, I know from my experience, because I've been in the sport within America for quite some time, and you never really heard of Life about 5-6 years ago. You might have heard 1 or 2 things about them, and all of a sudden they're beating Cal consistently, right? So I think that's a wonderful comparison for a team, because I think Mary Washington's on that same track. And if I had a horse to bet in the race, I feel like you guys would have a pretty good stand in that in the next few years. So try not to be biased, but again, I'm just putting out there what I'm seeing.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we'll wrap it up here with a couple funny questions, and then anyone can answer these if you guys want. So if you could remove one position from the field, what would it be?
Scrum half, because I'm the yappiest.
Whoa, that's a personal dig on me, my man. I don't know.
Is that right?
I don't know. No. So why do you think number 9?
No, just because they're just the yappiest people out there. That's literally the only reason why.
Games would be so quiet though without a 9 on the field.
It'd be a lot less irritating as well. So I reckon, people shouting at you to get up and get in here and do this and do that. My mum does that enough, so I reckon I'd get rid of the 9.
That's funny. I mean, they probably would start their own, webcast interview series too, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's hilarious. So I guess this is more for the player, but Seamus in the back, are you a no socks or a socks up kind of a guy?
Socks?
Do you wear high socks? Do you wear your socks?
Mine are kind of in the middle, like right at the bottom of the shin kind of guy.
So you like to show off the calves, huh? Try to get.
That's what it's all about.
Seamus is the big center, so the socks don't matter,
Oh yeah, that's funny, man. That's funny. If there's a rainy, muddy rugby match, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot here in Virginia this upcoming weekend, are you guys more likely to clean your gear right after the match, or throw it in the corner and wait a few days?
We clean our gear pretty quick. These guys are pretty proficient on what we do here. We're good with it.
High level of expectations. I dig it, and high standards as well. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I wish we had more time, but I'm sure we'll be talking in the future. Hopefully have you guys on as recurring guests. But if you have any other shout outs right now, throw them to those people's way.
You want to call it Clayton. You might as well. How cool would they like that? Clayton rugby?
I ended at Chapel Hill, so it'd be kind of weird.
No, I'm good, man. These are my shout out. These guys right here, Mary Washington Rugby right here. This is where my faith is at right now. This is where all my concentration and everyday thought is on this team right now. So yeah, I don't want to think about anybody else for a shout out, because these guys.
I'll shout out my old club.
Oh, I don't know. Can you shout out Scotland?
Let's do it.
Gordonians Rugby.
Shout out Dodians Rugby. All right. Well,
no, it's Gordonians Rugby. Don't get it wrong. It sounds just like his last name.
It's the Skype. I can't. No, I'm kidding. But again, Tyler, man, awesome that you're so dedicated to the club. It's great to see guys like you. It's a breath of fresh air, and I know you're gonna do great things with this club. And then you have, the boys with great heads on their shoulders. And if they're any in comparison to the rest of the team, I know you guys are gonna have a solid year ahead and future being in D1A. So everyone, shout out to Tyler Stevens, Matt Gordon, and Seamus Brennan for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you,
Yep.
Thanks
All right,
for having
guys.
us.
All right,
That's
buddy.
it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.